The Mortality Mindset podcast with Patrick Mathieu, designed to help you live a life of radical resilience at home, at work, everywhere.
Hi, it's Patrick Mathieu once again with another episode of the Mortality Mindset podcast. I'm coming to you today from lockdown. We were traveling, Jen and I were traveling just before the lockdown. We did a trip that was booked way back in December, and we're on a trip and then had to cut our trip short and came back. And of course that meant, because we were traveling internationally, that meant we had to stay in quarantine for 14 days. And we're almost through that. So we're, the Fitbit is off. I haven't, the Fitbit and I broke up a while back because, when you're stuck in the apartment, you're just not doing any steps. But I wanted to talk specifically because I know that, we're all going through weird and wonderful and difficult times. And maybe calling it wonderful is a bit of an exaggeration, but it can be some very scary times for people out there, because there's a lot of uncertainty. What's going to happen to my community? What's going to happen to my loved ones? What's going to happen to, my country, our world? What's going to happen to our world? How are we going to get through this? Well, I think we all feel that we will somehow one day get through this, but the question is when, and the question is how long is it going to take, and the question is what's it going to look like after we get through this. And ultimately we don't want to see our loved ones be impacted by this virus, and of course we don't want to see ourselves be impacted by this virus. And it's very uncertain, and it causes a lot of anxiety for people, and it can cause a lot of stress. And, this is the mortality mindset. This is what I've been talking about for years. And, it's been not difficult, but it's been a bit of a challenge for me to talk about the mortality mindset, because since 2003, I've been trying to get people to realize we don't get to live forever. And, what are you going to do with that information? Once you really get that, like not just intellectually, but once you really get that we don't live forever, what do you do with that information? How do you incorporate that into your life? What changes does it make? And it was always an abstraction for people because I'm a great speaker and I can convey my story of how I came to understand the mortality mindset and how I came up with that whole concept. I can convey that very well, but it's still me. It's still, you're still detached from that, because people in my audiences over the years would hear my story. And as I would start to tell the story, it just sounds like, a great survivor story. Like I, survived any other thing. There's lots of people out there telling survivor stories, and it sounds like that, born with this unique heart, was told I was going to die by the age of 30, and people would look at me and say, well, he looks like he's over 30. So I guess this all works out in the end. And I kind of structured my presentation that way on purpose, because then about halfway through, I remind them that this isn't just my story. It's all of our stories, because we all have what I call an expiry date. And that's why I was seeing, my 30th birthday as my expiry date. And trying to get people to grab onto that, to take that to heart, pun absolutely intended. Trying to get people to take that to heart was always, my challenge. I don't want to be the boogeyman. It's the last thing in the world I've ever wanted to be when I started down this path of speaking about this and writing about this. But it kind of takes a little bit of that to get people to realize it. And, in my book, in What's Your Expiry Date, I wrote about the fact that I see myself as the third ghost from Dickens' A Christmas Carol, right? And if you remember the story, Scrooge doesn't change his ways until the third ghost shows him his grave. And when he sees his grave, then Scrooge is like, oh, wow, you know what? I need to change things. I need to change how I'm living. And that's kind of what I've wanted to be, is just somebody who can take you while you're still alive, while everything is still great. So you still wake up in your bed, it's still Christmas morning, and you can jump out of that bed and go and make some changes. And that's what I've been trying to do for all these years. And now here we all are in this scenario where we don't know what's going to happen. And where, everybody else is being faced with the level of uncertainty that mortals need to live with. And when I say mortals, I mean people who are living and thinking as though they're mortal. People who understand that we have a finite amount of time on this earth and that we need to think more clearly about that. And for better or worse, that's what this pandemic is doing for people. It's forcing us all globally to realize we don't get to live forever. And what are we doing with that? One of the things that I talk about when I talk about radical resilience, or when I talk about the mortality mindset, is this concept of what matters most. Because we can do a list of what matters in our lives, and we can list off the people who matter, the things that matter, the goals or objectives or dreams or hopes that matter to us. And that's great. And we can work towards them. And that's how people live their lives, right? You set some goals, you set some objectives, you have some priorities, and then off you go and you work towards them. The thing about the mortality mindset is I want to start that whole process of planning and thinking and setting those priorities from a solid foundation of embracing your mortality and really getting it super clear that we don't get to live forever. Because when you operate from that basis, things shift. And I think with this crisis that we're all facing right now, lots of people are finding themselves in the middle of that shift. They're starting to look at their life and look at their day-to-day and say, you know what? That thing that I thought really mattered doesn't matter as much as I thought it did. And we're gathering our people to us. So we've got tons of acquaintances and tons of friends, and in the age of social media, we can have hundreds and hundreds of friends, if not thousands. But who are the people who really matter? Who are the people that really count? That's who we need to connect with. And that's what this pandemic is forcing us to do, is to take stock, first of all, of our lives, and second of all, to have some more increased, heightened awareness of our mortality. And then also it's an opportunity to reflect and an opportunity to pause and to reprioritize and to look at what matters most. And in doing so, we can build that radical resilience that I've been talking about for years. So one of the things that I've been doing with my time here in isolation is putting together something that's going to help people with that. Because I feel like this is now more than ever is the time that my message needs to go out there, that I can help if I can help in some small way with people, now's the time for me to do it. Absolutely. So I put together a membership site. It's absolutely free. It's called the Band of Mortals. And if you go to moralitymindset.com, there's a link there that will take you to the Band of Mortals. Sign up for free. And what I'm trying to do with that place is build a community around it. I had a Facebook group called Band of Mortals, but Facebook is Facebook is not a fun place. It's not friendly. You build a group of members, and then when you post something, Facebook says, oh, if you actually wanted to reach any of those people, you need to pay to boost your post. And they changed the rules a few times over the years. So I've created this portal, the mortal portal, I just came up with that. That's just, see, this is what happens when you've been locked in your apartment for over a week, is the brain starts to turn. Anyways, so the Mortal Portal, but the Band of Mortals is a portal where we can go, we can connect. I'm going to be posting, special videos there. I'm going to be posting audios. I'm going to be posting more content, more information for people who get it, for people who want to live like a mortal and want to take this opportunity that the pandemic is giving us. And for those of you who, like me, are, not allowed out, or you're maybe you're working from home, or you've got more time, this is a time where we can do this. We can make the most of it. So join that. I'm going to humbly suggest. And the other thing that I put together is a 1 month free online coaching program around radical resilience. It's going to start April 1st, and it's absolutely free, and you'll find it at the same place. Just go to mortalitymindset.com, and I'll give you a link there. I'll also put links to both these things in the show notes for this podcast and this YouTube video. Go there, sign up for the 1 month free. It includes a weekly videos. So I'm going to be giving videos on the principles of the radical resilience and what that's all about. I'm going to be doing a live Q&A / group discussion through Zoom, so we can jump on that once a week. There's going to be a recording available for people who can't make the live version. And there's going to be, a sense of community. I want to build some community around this. So we're all in this together. And so we can all support each other and share information back and forth. You're also going to get, when you sign up for either the Band of Mortals and or the Radical Resilience 1 week or 1 month program, you're also going to get the Mortality Manual, which is a PDF workbook that's going to help you get your head around this whole mortality piece. So that's what I've been up to, putting these things together for you. Hopefully you find that useful. If you do, if you are finding this stuff useful, please share it. Share this podcast, share the YouTube videos, share the Band of Mortals and the Radical Resilience coaching program, because we're all in this together, and together we can all get through it. Wash your hands. Take care. Goodbye.